Well, this is what we call online extra. It's where we get to hang out with Pastor Bob for just a couple more minutes and dive a little bit deeper on the message, maybe things you didn't get to mention.
Well, I went
A
long
lot.
already.
Yeah, there's
okay.
How much time do we have?
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the sermon series. So these aren't just random. These aren't just pulled out of a book. So why resilience? Why now? Why for us?
Yeah, so a couple reasons. One is because we've come out of a very difficult season, and I think still there's this heaviness for people and just kind of like this resignation, but we're called to live above that. The other reason is we live in the metaphorical Babylon. And when you read in the New Testament, especially when it talks about Babylon, it's this worldview that is devoid of God. And we live in a worldview where there's a lot of non-godly, non-biblical values and thoughts. And so we're called to live above that and resilient in the midst of it.
Something you've mentioned, of course, in the message, and that every service someone has resonated with, is the idea that we believe we know we are more than conquerors, but our circumstance may have us questioning our ability to be that. How would you address that?
Yeah, I would say that while it's true, our circumstances can cause us to feel one way, it's to know the truth. And God says that we're more than conquerors. Let's go with what he says. We'll talk a little bit more about this next week. But it is the truth. What are those truths that never change? Even in the circumstances, the Lord is still the God Almighty. His love will not ever, there's nothing that can separate us from his love. Those kind of things allow us to be more than conquerors, regardless of the circumstances or the situations.
Now, from your purview, you know where we're going to go for the next several weeks. So what is something we can be listening for, watching for in this series?
Yeah, so this is what I would ask as we go through this, because we're looking at Daniel, and there will be some stories that are very familiar to many of you. One, don't let the familiarity of the story overshadow maybe a new truth that you haven't heard from God. And also, it might be easy to say, well, yeah, these are just the Sunday school stories. No, I think there might be a principle or a truth or a nugget that you can take and say, I needed that for me. I'm going to hold on to that. And to come expecting God to reveal that to you and to take that and hold on to it.
And where are we headed next week?
Well, next week, we are doing Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel and the guys.
Okay.
We're going with that very familiar story, but we're going to look at it from a little bit of a different angle.
Awesome.